Okay. Test, test, test. Is this working? Test, test, test. All right. Well, here is the link to the YouTube in the chat. Mute yourself here, and I'll see you on that side. Let's go. All right. First things first, I want to make sure that this is all audible to everybody. So I'm just going to go into the live stream myself and double check that you guys can hear me. Test, test, test. Ooh, Alan didn't make it today. All right. Cool. So that means you should be able to hear me. And what I'm going to do just to make sure is I've created a Pro Tools session, right? My hand slipped at the last button. Hey, man, that's okay. You still got a very high batting average, so keep it up. You slipping. All right. So all I did was I created a new Pro Tools session, made it 48K 24-bit because those are the source files. The source files are 48K. And I created a session blank, no template, no nothing. I wanted to go right from scratch. So because we're going right from scratch and I'll be explaining the process as we go along, we're going to get as far as we can with the time that we have today. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is there's actually a rough bounce that I made just to have as like a reference point. So I'm just going to import that and just have it here. And I usually color my references purple or like a dark purple. So that's where I'm going to leave it. But just to give you guys an idea of the song, here's a little, and you know what? While this song plays, I'll also be finding the tempo just to kind of save time. So here we go. Pretty sure it's 148, and I'll just create a click track just to be sure. Yeah. So now that I'm done with the click track and the way I would be super sure is I would go to the end of the song and make sure that it matches up there too. All right, so the tempo matches up, so it's 148, pretty sure it's that. So now I can actually delete the click track. I don't really need it anymore. Finding the tempo is like one of the first things I do. But also, I believe it's actually like a 7/8 thing. So it's a little bit, it's not actually 4/4. Now, if I wanted to, I could change the actual, the time signature to 7/4. And, you know, in some cases, it's a really good idea to do that. But even though it has a technical 7/4 or 7/8 kind of feel to it, the overarching feel is that of a 4/4 beat. So for that reason, I'm going to keep it as 4/4. And again, doesn't really matter too much. It does change up the grid, but in this case, I'm leaving it as is. So there you go. That's the reference. Now the reference is there, we can mute that and forget about it. Next thing I always do is I create a master fader stereo. Again, shortcuts, I'm not going to mention all of them as I do them, but hopefully you know them. The shortcut for a new track is Shift-Command-N, and this window pops up. And I know a lot of you guys click on this and kind of scroll through them, but if you're not, if you want to know how to do that faster, if you press Command and the left and right buttons, that changes the channel number of the track. So if I press right, it goes to stereo. Then it'll go to LCR, LCRS, quad, 5, 5, 1, 7, or 6, sorry, then 7, right? So that's pressing the left and right buttons, left and right arrows, while holding command, right? Now, if you still hold Command and press up and down, it changes the type of track that you choose. So right now it's on audio track. If I press down, it'll change to aux, master fader, VCA, MIDI, instrument, right? So Shift Command N, Command right arrow to change to stereo, Command down arrow, 1, 2 to change to master. All right. So there you go. There's our master fader. I'm going to go ahead, and the very first thing I put is on the very last insert slot of my master fader. And this is very important that it's the last one. I put a metering tool, we've already talked about these, to let me know the level of the actual track. So this is going to let me know the integrated LUFS, or the overall level of the track. And I need to know that because, like I said, for Spotify, Apple Music, for mastering, all that stuff, you need to be hitting specific levels, right? I want to eventually get to about a -16, maybe, -16 or maybe -17 loudness. So right now, if I play this track, maybe at its loudest point, we'll see where it's at. This reference track. Right, so it looks like it's at about -20. Right, so I'm not going for just a heads up, we're gonna be on YouTube for quite a bit. So like, if you get kicked out of Zoom, don't even worry about it. You can leave Zoom and then just come back whenever we're done on YouTube. All right. I may or may not go straight, depending on if I need to take a break or not. That kind of depends. I've been mixing all day as it is, so you guys know the deal. It's like you get tired, so ear fatigue, right? So the reason why I'm not gonna go to -14 LUFS tie is because that's mastering level for like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that stuff, but I want to get a mix level, which is slightly softer so that it gives the mastering engineer a little bit of space to actually work in case he needs to boost some levels or reduce some levels. He has space to actually move. If I send him a track of -14, then there's not really a lot of space for him to move, right? So that's why I'm going to aim for like a -16, 17-ish. And then we'll go from there. But, you know, in this particular case, just because like it's a fun project, I would probably master it myself, right? Next thing, Shift Command I to import and go to wherever the stems are imported. Tie, exactly, that's the correct terminology, which is no headroom. Now, before I get into that, let me just show you that the session that I've created is under our same Pro Tools Sessions folder that we've been using the whole time, right? It's right here. You can tell, because this is a re, this is a re. Now here are the stems, right? These are all the stems that we're going to be using. All right, so it's a fair number of tracks, but not too bad. So I always put these stems inside the Pro Tools Session folder. If not inside, I create another folder that contains this session and the stems in two separate places. It's just a good place for me to like keep everything organized, right? So I'm just gonna drag it into that. You don't have to do that if that's not your style, and I totally understand why. Just a personal preference thing. Shift Command I to import, and let's go find these stems. So I know exactly where it is. Again, this is a lesson that some of you are learning the hard way, but always remember exactly where your Pro Tools session is. It becomes a big fucking issue if you're like almost finished with a session and now you don't even know where it is. Come on, like, get organized about it. I know it's not sexy to be organized and stuff, but it's going to make you money and build you a life. So fucking do it. Okay? So here we go. All the, and by the way, I do apologize for all the cursing, but you guys should be used to that by now. I'm trying, guys. So, you select all the tracks, you copy them, and then done. You guys know how to import audio, right? And now we wait. Grab some water, calm before the storm, as they say. Organization is my literal job. Honestly, being an engineer, it's pretty much the same. Like, you think it's mostly about audio. Like, no, everybody, like, there's so many people who are good at audio. There's so much more that people will pay you for, or appreciate you for. Let's go ahead and import all these tracks. Ooh, there they go, loading up. Now, a lot of them have weird names because I literally just bounced all the stems like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. So I'm going to go in and rename a lot of these. Okay, there they are. All right. So let's do that. Suppose you get a bunch of stems with crazy names. The first thing I'll do is go in and rename them. So I'll double click and I'll rename. So now there's some things that I'll rename, some things that I won't. So rise and hit, that's a lot of words. Get rid of that. Let's just do R hit. All right. Let's do Celeste. Celeste makes a lot of sense. I don't know what this Opus shit is. Maybe it's the name of a plugin. Yeah, but I don't really need the name of the plugin. It doesn't make sense. Double bass short, that must be... Yeah, see, East West, that's the name of the plugin company. I know that one. So these look like they're all the... what are they called? Orchestration, the strings and wind and all that stuff. Yeah, these look like strings. Double bass. Gong. Wow, I didn't know we had a gong in this. Harp. Oh, got rid of 14. So, I just realized that, not just realized, this happens actually every time I do like a private mix session outside of SAE. Last one I did was like a few months ago, but I was doing this private mix session with like a couple of students, and the first like 10-15 minutes was just renaming shit, and I was like, I know you guys are bored as shit, but this is kind of part of the deal. And again, if you want to hire somebody to do it, hey, do it. This looks like some plugin thing. How are you going from track to track? So that's a good question. So let's see where we are. So if we double click on a track name, the name pops up. Now you can either click on next and previous over here to go to the next and previous track, or you can press command and right arrow to go in between them. So these names look pretty cool. Looks like there's violin 1 staccato, violin 1 pizzicato. I think Hannah would be the official on stuff like this. I know the terminology, but I wouldn't be the best person to ask to explain. I know pizzicato is when you pluck, and staccato is pop, 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 instead of da, 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 which is legato. I did learn some theory growing up. So I try to do this part. Usually, to be completely honest, whenever I do get a new session, doing stuff like renaming and track organization and the buses, subgrouping and all that, that's actually something I do before I sit down to mix, because it's such a more organizational thing, and it kind of takes you out of the mood of actually getting into the song. So usually I wouldn't do all of this and mix on the same day or even within like the same time period. But in this case, we'll have to just make an exception and just fucking do it, because I just got these stems. So I wonder how many, you might be wondering, Dan, this is a lot of tracks. I wonder how long this is going to take. It's a good question, because honestly, I'm already bored. All right. Let's just go through all these. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that when I go through the tracks, there's stuff that I can see that just makes sense. I don't want to see numbers and, like fucking plug-in names or something. It doesn't help me in the process of mixing, right? I just want everything to work towards helping me mix. And This is part of that. As boring as it is, it's the fucking way to go. Let's get rid of 86. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Hey, look at it this way. If you ever come back to this video, you can skip all this bullshit right here. Man, how can it be raining and hot at the same time? Okay, so here's a problem. There's a track called Audio 5. So what the fuck is that shit? Looks like it's an empty track. So whatever that means. So either I missed something in the stems or those are actually empty tracks. So I'm going to hide and make them inactive for now. But we'll see how that goes. Bass DI, bass wet. So he did run it through an amp. That makes sense. Cajon back. Looks like the comp. Cajon front. You guys know what a cajon is? It's a type of percussion instrument. It's like a wooden box, but you can get some really cool sounds. And usually cajon, I usually treat like a drum kit, right? In a very similar way. Harm 1, Harm 1, dupe 1, Harm 2, LP drums. Oh yeah, there's like a kick drum in this. So I'll take this, call it 2. Mallets. Oh, these are actually ooze. Okay, ooze, that's okay. Pads. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to leave them. Piano solo. That's kind of important. Piano solo. And piano. Yeah, piano stem. That's two different things. Ping stem, whatever that is. V1. That sounds like vocals, but I'm just going to go check just in case. Yeah, that looks like vocals. V1. V2. What is this? V2. Ah, yes, these are guitars. So this is guitar. Good thing we checked. Guitar V1, guitar V2L, guitar V2R. So that's a left and a right. And what is this? Closer. That's a vocal. So call this Vox V1 or Vox V1. It's actually a copy. And this looks like a vocal too. Far too high on the weight of your words. Keep this. I'm actually going to leave these. I'll be able to tell when I see them. What is direct? Shaker. Cymbal. What is this? Cymbal. Okay. What is this? What is this? So there's a lot of cymbal stuff over here. Okay. Room left, room right. Okay, so it looks like there's room microphones. Got it. Okay. Let's get organized about this stuff. So all these at the end, these from here onwards, it's a bunch of sounds legit. Oh my god. Global warming, man. Alright, let's get direct 5. Direct dupe. Okay, so the direct ones, that makes sense. Direct dupe. Pre V1. What's this? So that's another guitar. Pre V1. Room. All right, so these look like they definitely need organizing. So here's what I'm going to do. Room L05. So there's got to be a room R05, right? Boom. So these two are paired together. All right. And that's paired with direct 05. Oh, okay, got it. So sometimes you have to decipher whatever the thing is, and I'm just going by track names. So for example, this percussion stuff, there was probably a direct microphone and room microphones. So I'm combining all the similar names. So for example, let's find, so direct dupe 111, there's probably going to be a room 111 dupe 1, right? Left and a right. So I can see that, let's see, this one is the left, dupe 111, this one is the right. So you want to make sure these are all together too. So again, this is all just organizational shit. So if you don't like it, you might be in the wrong profession. Dupe 119, let's see, room 119 left is over here, room 119, room 119 right is over here. All right. What's the other one? Direct dupe 219. So room dupe 219 R room 219. There we go. Oop. Boom. Left, right. Oh, and then the last ones will organize themselves, right? Yep, that should make sense. 1902, that should be here. All right, there you go. So it's a little confusing, but just know that these percussions were done with 3 microphones, a direct microphone and a room left and right. So I was just looking at the names and trying to come up with... and I remember now that students actually helped me record these these percussions. It was at a different studio, and that's probably why they're named crazy names. All right. So now we want to group all the similar stuff together. So let's find Cajon. That's what I'll always start with. Cajon, wherever that was. Cajon front and back. And I believe there is LP drums too, which is going to be more of the, let's say, drum vibe. So I'm going to group them together and color code them. You guys know how to do this already. Then all the percussion stuff, which is all the stuff from over here, I'm going to group together, but let's do that after I do bass. I think I saw bass wet and DI. So these can go all the way here, color them slightly different. Let's get the other stuff like guitar preview 1. Where's the other guitar stuff? Guitar V2, guitar V1. All right. So that's interesting. I wonder where the chorus guitars are, unless that didn't import. So it doesn't look like all the stems came in, which might be why. So let me just import the stems from the other session. So I can tell that some of the stems aren't actually correctly in here. So let's see. Boom. Guitars chorus, yeah, see that didn't come in. Pre-V1, V1, V2, that came in. All right. So import. Session data. All right, cool. So these are guitar chorus left and guitar chorus right. Well, that's weird. How can it be a similar name if... Unless I missed it. Of course, that could be an option too. But guitars, I usually color green. Let's see. Let's find all these vocals. Where's the vocals at? Box, 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 box. These woes are all vocals. Vox pre. Sorry, Vox V1. Oh, these O's are all vocals. Yeah, again, you don't have to come back on Zoom. I know I can hear some of you trying to get in. If you leave Zoom, doesn't really matter. I care more about whether you can watch this video. Rise and hit. Let's see, all this timpani stuff. This is all orchestra stuff. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of orchestra shit. So this is going to be interesting. Chorus. Oh, these look like vocals. End patch. I remember that's a vocal. There's our guitar chorus. So I did import it correctly. Oh, sorry, I did bounce the stems correctly. I just didn't see it. All right. Just want to make sure that these are indeed vocals.
We'll be just fine.
Let's hear what these vocals sound like, just to be sure.
Fine. Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
Reloading all the tabs, yeah. Yo, I have a friend who has like 50 tabs open like all the time. Like, what? Really? Like, why? What's wrong with you? Oh, looks like there's a whoa there that I missed. Boom. So you can tell that this kind of stuff is super meaning, like super task, like very, very boring to do, to be completely honest. Let's see, percussion, let's give it like a slightly orange tinge. These are like cymbal swells and shakers and stuff. They can go right near where our other percussions are. Slowly but surely, the tracks are coming together. Now okay, so piano solo, that's a specifically important, distinct one. So I'm going to color it that. And then a lot of these can actually come within the same group, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these are all just... Okay, got it. So I'm actually not going to group all these. I'm going to keep these under the same group because this is like orchestra stuff, orchestra MIDI stuff, right? And I kind of want to be able to have them within one group anyway. They play more of a supportive role for the most part. There's only a few ones like the piano and some similar ones that actually play a vital role in the melody, right? So that should be everything. And just to be sure, I'm going to... boom, just solo these and just hear what we got. So you can hear that a lot of this stuff sounds good already. So that's the cool thing. When you're dealing with MIDI and stems and stuff, a lot of the stuff already sounds dope. And I think the temptation is to actually go in and do a bunch of shit, you know, like EQ, compression, chorus effect. And like the actual key is just to do subtle things and little things and kind of just shift stuff around and give everything its own space. You don't have to put an EQ on everything. All right. So now we start creating our subgroups. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is create a stereo aux called the mix bus. Now, you might be wondering, well, why do you have a mix bus and a master fader, right? So I have this rough track over here, this reference track. So this is the demo, right? The one that we were... So that is going to go to the master fader, right? But I want to have all these individual instruments, the actual stems, I want these all to go to a mix bus that I can actually put processing on. If I didn't have this, right? If I just had a master fader and everything, all these were going to the master fader, if I put an EQ or a compressor on the master fader, yes, it would alter the mix, which is what I want, but it would also alter the reference that I'm listening to, which I don't want. I don't want the master fader to touch to affect the reference track. So I create a mix bus, click on the solo button while holding command to set the solo button as solo safe, set it to an input bus, and I always rename my buses because I like to keep things simple and organized. So let's see how many groups we've got. We've got Cajon and, let's call it Cajon and drums. We have a percussion section, or this should actually be called a cymbal section. So let's call this percussion section, cymbal section, even though I know cymbals can technically be under percussion. Bass, that's 3. Guitars, that's 4. Vocals, that's 5. And vocals I usually like to put at the end anyway. Orchestra, that's 6. Piano solo, I'm going to have on a... I'm going to put it within the orchestra. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we need to create 6 stereo aux input tracks. When you have all tracks selected, you can press Shift, Option, Command, and click on the solo button to solo safe all of them. And then at the same time, you can press Shift, Option, Command, click on one of the inputs, the first input of the first aux, and you can say bus 101, and then all the others will cascade down. So the first will be 101, the next will be 103, 105, etc., etc. See? Input is bus 101, 102. Input here is bus 103, 104. So that's called cascading. So set all the inputs in, then just Shift and Command to set all the outputs to the same bus, and I want to set it to the mix bus. And I'll color these blue as well. All right, so that's what's going on. We have a perc, we have a cymbal, we have a... Actually, let's call perc Cajon because that's really what it is. Cymbals. We have bass, we have guitar, orchestra, and vocals. So the cascading shortcut, I'm just going to do it one more time. So if I set all these inputs to nothing, so right now there's no input for all these subgroups. Remember, the ones that are capital letters are all subgroups for the various instruments. And then you have your mix bus, which is on its own, right? So I need to set the Cajon to its own bus input. I need to set the cymbals to a separate bus input and do it for all the individual ones. So the way I do it fast is I click on one, hold Shift, click on the last one so that all of them are selected. Then I do Shift, Option, Command, click on the input of the first track, set it to, let's say, 101, 102, and now you can see that each one is one after the other. It iteratively assigns the input value. But I also go in and rename them the same name as the actual subgroup so that there's no confusion, right? So I know exactly where everything is going. Now look, this is all stuff that you can already set up as a template just to save you time, or if you're, or like I said before, if you want to set all this up the day before you do the mix, it actually takes care of all the bullshit minutia before you get into the fun mixing. Now to rename a bus, you actually have to right-click on the bus name, and it doesn't matter where you do it, even for sends if you do it, right? If you right-click on the bus name, you can say rename and call it whatever you want. All right. Next thing, let's do this. Let's go in and route. So all these Cajon drums need to go to the Cajon subgroup. So I select all these tracks, press Shift Option, and set the output to the bus Cajon. So now all of these are going to the Cajon group. right? So it's basically just a wooden box. That's what a cajon is. I'm going to do the same for the cymbals. So Shift Option, click on the output, change them to cymbals, change these to bass, all right? Change the guitars to guitars. Actually, I want to rename this guitars because there's more than one guitar. So I didn't actually count how many tracks there are in this. Not that it really matters, but it's kind of always interesting to know. All right. There you go. So there you go. All subgrouping pretty much done. Now it's going to obviously... I'm going to add more tracks like reverbs and delay tracks, so that's going to increase the number of routing that I have to do. But for now, that's a good place to start. Let's start with the vocals, because I'm kind of already feeling a little blah from just like doing all the organizational shit. It's just not fun stuff to do. So let's actually find some vocals to fuck with. Let's start with V1, and let's bring this to the top of the vocal chain.
Seeping out from these up. Seeping.
All right, so first thing I heard was a little bit of AC noise. So I'm going to go in, get my trusty FabFilter EQ, and start giving it that nice little high pass.
Seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds.
So it's pretty good.
Seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us.
I remember we EQ'd this on the way in, so...
Seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us. So swear to me and say you will swear.
I'm going to see if I can add a little bit of body to his voice. Not that much, because don't really need it, but...
Seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us.
Okay, hang tight. Hey, Keisha, we're on YouTube. The link is in the chat, so I'll see you on that side. All right, let's get some compression going. Now, you can already tell, but these vocals have been compressed. If not by visual, but you can actually see it, right? So after EQ, let's go in and add some compression. Going to use my trusty... actually, let's try something different. Let's choose something by Universal Audio. Let's go with something like the... Ooh, let's go with the LA2A. Let's go with the... Should we go with Legacy?
Seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us. So swear to me and say you will. Swear to me and say you will hold what's right up in the light and fight through all your fears. I feel it slipping away.
So I'm just listening to see. Sometimes it's good to not look at the plugin, just to like, because your eyes can fool you, right? Into like thinking like, oh, that sounds good. Like, no, use your ears.
I feel it slipping away.
So you can hear the compression.
With the tide and the sound.
But the idea is to just not hear it too much.
Midst in the mind and the world all around.
All right, so I'll go with that. Minus 10 dB compression for vocals? I don't think so. So if you look at it,
I feel it.
It's about there. It's between 3 to 5. May or may not stick to that, but there are some parts that I think need to be more evened out. You don't want to have it too compressed. Like, I would never go up to 10. No, I mean, unless you're doing like hardcore flat music, like extreme electronic, or even sometimes some extreme hip hop. But not in this case. You want it to be relatively dynamic. This is kind of an interesting compressor because there's only 2 knobs you can see, right? We learned compressors with like all the different, threshold, ratio, attack, release, decay, all that stuff, right? But in this case, you have 2 options. One, the amount of compression, and the other is the makeup gain. And everything else is fixed in the compressor. So the threshold is fixed. The ratio, the attack, release, all that stuff is fixed. And if you read the manual, it'll actually tell you details on how it works. And there's actually different LA2As for different functions. But for this case, I'm going to go with this. It's got like this slow what I'm hearing is it's compressing the vocals pretty smoothly, and it's kind of like releasing it in a really smooth way. So it's not like too pumpy and like spiky. So that's why I'm going with it. Let's add some reverb. So I know this is going to be really really anal of me, but I'm going to set all these inputs to no input. It's like really distracting to see that shit. So boom. Yeah, those are all the inputs from my interface. That's why you're seeing all that shit. All right, cool. Let's add some reverb. So you guys know that I like to have separate reverbs and delays for different instruments and different subgroups. So got 2 stereo aux inputs, right? I just clicked on the solos, and I'm also going to set the inputs using that cascade feature. It's going to be Vox Verb, and the other one's going to be Vox Delay. For now, I'll just stick with using one delay, but I have a feeling that I may or may not set up 2 delays. Again, I'm not using a template in this case, so I'm starting fucking raw. Let's see. Reverb. I really like the Lustrous Plates by Liquid Sonics. Especially this one, the rhodium plate. If you like set it in a nice way, you can get some nice reverb. So here's the vocals. Go to the send a copy to Vox Verb. I don't like to do it this way. I like to press Command, click on the arrow to have this fader.
I feel it slipping away.
Yo, how can you not like that reverb?
With the tide and the sound, turquoise and crimson midst in the mind, and the world all around.
So you can actually EQ your reverb within the plugin on this. So it's pretty cool to just have that.
I feel it slipping away.
So this cuts out any low sub frequencies for the reverb. I don't get that plugin tonight. Man, they should fucking sponsor me for this shit. Hey, fucking pay me. All right. Let's see.
I feel it slipping away.
So just reduced a little bit of the highs because I do want to keep this kind of on the warmer, vibey side. So let's keep this as the reverb for now. And let's kind of cut it off around.
I feel it slipping away. With the tide and the sound, turquoise and crimson midst in the mind, and the world all around.
So I'm trying to get that perfect. I'm not going for perfect. I'm trying to get a good balance between the dry vocal and the reverberated vocal. But I'm also keeping in mind that once the instruments come in, the reverb might get buried. So you want to turn it up to the point where it's going to be able to take over the instruments, but not too loud so that it's like fucking distracting, right? So let's set that as our vocal point. What's another vocal thing we can do? Let's see. Chorus. Should probably do chorus. Oh, wait, there was another V1. Yeah, right here. So this looks like just like one word punch in. This could actually just go right up here. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. So I'm not gonna waste energy and time on another track. I'm just gonna like put it right there. And actually, just to be safe. All right, here we go. Now let's see. So those are all the individual tracks. Where's that chorus track? The chorus is probably going to be a very close setting to the verse. So if I hold Option and drag it over, should be good. Now I just want to I want to mention something right off the bat, right? These stems have been tuned, edited, cleaned up before I even brought them in, right? So, you know, usually there may be like an auto-tune plugin up here or something, or like a Melodyne or something, but because, you know, that was already done during the mix prep or like the pre-mix phase, I don't have to have it right here. So I'm just focusing on sonics right now. This liquid sonics lustrous plates I got with Slate plugins. They had this deal where you can pay monthly for all their plugins, but this actually came as a part of the deal, and I really liked it. So let's see what this chorus sounds like now.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine.
Might have to compress it a little bit more.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, and fight through all your fear. Maybe.
Okay, so that's pretty good. I had to compress it more because it was a little bit more dynamic. You can see that like some of the words are softer than, you know, maybe they should be. And that was just part of the tracking phase. So maybe we missed it, or maybe we just decided to fix it during the mix, which is not something I always recommend, but time and money and all that stuff. All right, so while we're on chorus vocals, let's actually get to these harmonies.
Maybe, oh maybe.
So I'm going to use this EQ as a starting point.
Maybe.
Now, because it's harmonies, I don't actually need this little bump in the body to get that kind of warmth, because that was mainly for the main vocals, because I really want those vocals to be like nice and round but prominent at the same time. Because the harmonies play a little bit more of a secondary role, or a side character role, as you say, I'm actually going to get rid of this.
Maybe, oh maybe.
And because he's singing in a different register, I actually had to change the EQ a little bit. There's a little bit of a different resonance frequency or overtone happening. So that's why. But everything else I can keep the same.
Maybe, oh maybe.
Probably have to compress this more because the signal's so low. There's probably no compression going on.
Maybe,
Right.
oh maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Add some reverb.
Maybe, oh maybe.
And then let's see how it sounds with the chorus vocals.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine.
Too loud.
We'll be just fine.
Now, one thing you could do if you wanted to really get into it is go in and line up the vocals a lot smoother. There's actually a plugin called VocalLine that does this for you, but you can also do it manually.
Maybe.
There's something so beautiful about when harmonies line up in time and when they are pitched properly. That's how you get good group vocals, right?
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just.
So like right there.
We'll be just.
Oh,
we'll be just fine.
Now look, I'm not going to go in and do that in this particular case, but that's something we would have caught in the editing process.
Maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe.
And because that's late and it's an important part of the song, I'll shift that over.
Oh, maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe.
So that's late.
Oh, maybe, oh, maybe, we'll be just fine, we'll be just fine.
Yes, so this needs to go up. This is part of the chorus. Move this up.
We'll be just fine.
Cool. That means we can get rid of another track. Bye-bye. Delete. Delete. Delete! Hey, extra points for somebody who, if they know where that's from. Delete. Delete. Delete! I'm curious, because there's actually two answers, but there's one that I'm referring to. Let's see if you guys get it. All right, so it looks like we got harmonies. Let's see if it works in the chorus again.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
Now, it looks like in the second chorus, there's a additional harmony that happens. So let's see what this is. So it's a lower harmony. So I'm going to start off by copying the plugins from the harmony, not the main vocals, not the chorus vocals. No, it's not the matrix. Wrestling is one of the right answers. And Hannah, my girl, fuck yeah. Death Note. Yes. Yes, we are one mind. Yeah. The other one is Matt Hardy. I didn't even know about that until later, but the one that I was referring to was Death Note. By the way, fucking brilliant series. Especially the first like 20, 25 episodes. Pure genius. All right. So I copied the plugins of the Harmony 1 to Harmony 2 because that's a good starting point.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
It's a different register.
Maybe, oh, maybe. Maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe. We'll be just.
I actually didn't know he did that. That's pretty cool.
Maybe, oh, maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe.
Don't want to compress too hard.
Oh, maybe, we'll be just fine.
So let's see what these sound like.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
So I don't want these lower harmonies to be like super audible or anything. Sometimes, and I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, sometimes it's not necessarily that you have to make something louder to make it feel present. Sometimes you just have to like be able to feel the motion of the vocal going on without actually turning it up. So I'm not going to really make this prominent.
Maybe, oh, maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Oh, that's funny. I couldn't even remember he did that.
You have me.
Oh, this should work.
You have me placed far too high.
I fucking love this dude's harmonies, man. It's my boy right there. All right. So let's check out these other harmony tracks. I have one more here, which looks like it's for verse 1. So first things first, I'm just going to copy these over. And again, I'm just trying to get a starting point. I may or may not commit to these plugins, but it looks like they're working. And this is the beauty of if you record something properly and consistently, then you don't have to do so much work in the mix process. If you're in a mix process and you're doing all kinds of work to try to fix it and all that shit, it means it wasn't recorded super well, or it wasn't recorded, let's say, professionally. So something to keep in mind. Let's see what these do.
I feel it slipping away.
See, it just works.
With the tide and the sound, turquoise and crimson midst in
Flash
the
flood.
mind.
So it's a little too loud. I'm going to turn it down.
The world all around. I feel it slipping away. We'll be just fine. I feel
Still a little too loud.
slipping away. Oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
Actually, I wouldn't mind if that's louder. So it looks like this harmony is softer than this, so we may have to automate that. All right, we'll figure that out because as the instruments come in, you'll start to realize you'll have to fuck with levels a little bit more, because we're just listening to vocals on their own, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to be too worried about it. We're just trying to get this starting point. Now these oohs, I love these oohs. Now they don't sound that great now, but just trust me. Once we just gonna listen to them. Okay, so they're all different. So I actually want to make them wide because they're actually going to be like a add-on to the verse. So check it out.
I feel it slipping away.
Right, so it'd be really cool if the main vocals are sitting up front with the harmonies, and then we could spread these out, right? Now, ideally, I wasn't actually here for the tracking of these oohs, which is unfortunate. I was there for the main vocals, but not these oohs. And that's kind of unfortunate because I would really have loved to create like a stereo pan with everything doubled, but I don't have that option. However, I do have the option of an even number of 5 tracks. Let's see. We have 2 low tracks. Then we have a bunch of high tracks. So I could just decide to pan some of them one way and some of them another way and just be happy with the fact that it's not a perfect stereo. I'm just going to loop it just so that we can hear it again and again. It's preak. Okay. Let's make a smaller loop so we don't have to wait all the time. So let's see. I like that. So all I was doing was I'm trying to spread them out. Just to see where they will. And I'm only roughly placing the volume because I still have to compress them and stuff. So let's go ahead and start adding EQs on these. But that's kind of a good placement for me. So first thing to note is that because these oohs are... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't actually see this. I love that show. Hell yeah. I've been having some anime moments since y'all brought it up. Still finishing FMA. Oh, cool. You're in my studio. This is all I do with my free time. That's That's awesome. All right. So with the oohs, because they're not the main vocals, they're more of like a side character, background character. When I EQ them, I'm not going to give them a lot of body and like, you know, meat to them. I want them to be more ethereal and light, almost like silk. Like, you know, I've never wrapped myself in silk, but I've heard that people like it because it's nice and smooth. So we can get rid of all these mids. It's super thin. Might be too thin. Actually, no. I'm not afraid to go too thin because again, this is not the main character of the song. So I'm going all in on that. Let's choose a different compressor. Let's choose a fab filter because I want to get it pretty flat. So I'm going to compress this pretty hard. The idea is I want these to kind of play in the background a little bit, audible, but not like too audible. Well, not necessarily the background, but I want them to be behind the main vocals in space. So in order to do that and still make them pretty audible, you have to compress them a little harder. So yeah, I'm getting close to like 6 dB on that. Oh, you want me to auto gain it? Yeah. Makeup again is probably going to be louder than you want. Thank you, dude. I'll leave it on for now. Alright, so that's going to be good. Let's see how these match up. And again, because these are all one kind of set of vocals, I'm going to group them. They're all selected, so press Command G. Call this ooh group. Hit OK. Okay, and now we just want to listen to the vocals, so I'm just going to solo these for now. So that the really high one is a little distracting. Okay, so we got the general placement. Now we add the fucking reverb. So I'm going to use this as a start point because we're using the same reverb. And I'm going to pan the sends similar to how I panned this. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to pan the sends opposite to how I panned this. So hopefully it'll create something of a stereo vibe. So this is panned to the right, so I'll pan the send to the left. I'm just doing the opposite for all of them, just to see what it's like, right? I can't remember if this is how I did it or not. I'm also going to set all these to pre-fader because I want it to be more of a reverberated track than anything. So let's see what this sounds like. You get the idea. That's what I'm going for.
Be just fine. We'll be just fine. I feel it slipping away with the time.
Interesting. So maybe
Be just
let's do
slipping away. Slipping away.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a separate reverb just for the oohs because I'm hearing a lot of low end from this particular reverb, and that's not what I want, especially for this vocal. So I'm gonna create a Vox Verb 2. I do like the vibe of the reverb, so I might keep that the same. Maybe extend the tail, like have a longer tail. But no, nothing else. And also, all of these should be going to the vocal subgroup. All right. So this, but now, instead, I'm going to go in and get rid of a lot of that low end. So let me first send all these again. These oohs. Send all these oohs to Vox Verb 2. Hopefully the settings will remain the same. Yes! All right. And let's get rid of a lot of these low end shits. I want it to be nice and bright and ethereal. Let's see. Probably going to be louder than you want. Okay, can you explain the difference between pre-fader versus post-fader when it comes to sends? All right, so pre-fader means that this fader right here, the fader in the actual mix window, does not affect how much of the signal you're sending to the reverb. So for example, right, let me turn these back to post fader. Post fader means that if I change these faders, that'll change the amount of the signal being sent to the reverb. All right, so check this out. I'm just going to use these. All right, so you can hear the certain amount of reverb and the dry, right? You hear that balance. I'll play it one more time. And the dry is pretty loud, and the reverb is just there in the back because I've only sent a little bit of the copy, right? Or a little bit of the copy of the vocals. So if I bring these main faders down, these faders down here, if I bring them down, the volume of the dry to the wet will relatively be the same. So if I turn them up versus when I turn them down, right? Relatively, the wet and the dry remain the same. The dry is kind of louder, the wet's kind of here. What I want to happen is I want to be able to turn down the dry and turn up the wet. All right? So what does that mean? Right now, we're in post-fader mode, which means that, you know, my dry is here, my fader is here, my wet is the send fader, these send faders, right? If I'm in post-fader mode and I turn down the dry, it turns down the amount being sent as well. So it's all moving relative. I want to turn down the dry and turn up the wet. So I want to make them independent of each other. That's where pre-fader comes in. So if you click on the P for all of these and I turn these all the way down, you're only hearing dry vocals. I'm sorry, you're only hearing wet vocals. But I do want a little bit of those dry vocals blended in just to give it a little bit of depth. Pretty cool, right? Let's see. All right, no, if you're, Josh, if you're here on YouTube, don't worry about it, dude. You don't have to come back. All right, now there's still something about it that I don't like, so I just want to put an EQ right after that reverb. It's like this mid that I don't like. I want it super thin. Maybe that's too much. All right, because the idea is I want the main vocals to be like super solid and this to be kind of more of a background thing. So another big thing to do in mixing is to kind of create that kind of contradiction, or not even contradiction, that byplay between present versus background, or sorry, forefront versus background, present versus dull, loud versus soft. You're kind of comparing and combining all these things together. That's kind of what you do in mixing and storytelling, really. With the tide and the sound, turquoise and crimson midst in the mind and the world. Nice. And this I might actually turn a little bit down. And you know what? I'm actually going to add some delay to the ooze too. That's going to really kind of extend the ooze and give them some sort of like sustain in a way. I'm gonna choose the repeater, and yeah, let's see what happens if we set up the ooze with a delay, which is over here. Boom, and let's do the same thing to spread them out a little bit. So the delayed version of the ooze is going to go to the opposite side of where they're actually panned, right? So like this ooh, the dry vocal is on the left, the reverb is on the right, and the delay is on the right. Now you could also fuck with that. You could make the reverb go in different directions, whatever. I'll let you guys figure that out. So for some reason, the groups... So if you want to have... see how all these tracks are supposed to be in a group A. If you want to move all these faders, these send faders at the same time, you need to go in to the group, right-click, modify. You can either do this in globals if it's following global attributes, and say, hey, I want you to be able to change the level of send C as well. And if you hit OK,
with the tapping away with the tide,
that sounds way better.
away with the tide.
You can hear that it's a little bit more sustained out.
Turquoise and crimson midst in the mind, and the world all around.
Now it looks like there's some woes. Let's do these. Let's do these woes. I think the woes are going to be treated exactly like the ooze, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe.
Whoa. Yeah, so they're kind of the same vibe. So let's see what we do.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Ah.
Whoa. Whoa.
So in this case, he did a double take, or a second performance of each one. So this is easy. You just pan them left and right, and they're going to create a stereo image because he performed each one twice. Just perfect. Good for him. And because these are going to follow the similar rules of the O's, I'm going to start by copying and pasting over the reverbs, but again, I can just pan them hard left and right because, well, he did double vocals, and yeah, I don't have to do some weird kind of trick to make them work in a stereo. Ugh, what the fuck am I doing? Boom, boom, boom. And we can group these, Command G, woo. Let's EQ them. We want to make them nice and thin. I'm going to guess that that's a good place, just hearing the frequency of the vocals. And let's compress them approximately the same and see if it's too much. All right, I'm just going to use my ears. Don't you gotta pan the sends opposite direction? No. So I only did that in the O case because I didn't have a stereo image. So let me explain. Whenever I'm doing group vocals, right? This is a perfect example. The woes. When I'm doing these kinds of vocals, what's happening is there are three separate melodies going on, right? It's actually one melody with two harmonies on it, right? So there's whoa, 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 right? Something like that. So you have three different vocal performances. What I always tell the singer to do is do those twice so you have two of each. So you have two of the first one, two of the second, two of the third, right? Now that you have two, you can just pan one set of them to the left, one set of them to the right, and you get like a chorus vocal. And that's why I can pan them hard left and right here and on the sends. I didn't have that option for the O's. For the O's, he had like 4 separate or 5 separate harmonies, but he didn't double them. So I had to, in a way, create my own fake version of stereo-ish by putting them in their own place, but then having the reverb and delayed versions of each one go to the opposite side. It's like a cool fake way of creating like a bigger choir effect, if that makes sense. So if you have 2 of each, oh, you're golden. If you only have 1 of each, then you're gonna have to finagle some way to like make it work. That's great. It looks super compressed, but these are going to live way in the back anyway, so it doesn't matter. And let's turn the feedback up on that. Come on. All right. So I believe we're almost done with vocals. What's this end patch? Oh, yeah, I remember this. This can actually go on the main vocals, which is right up here. Boom. If you can combine tracks, then do, because you're just saving on processing and just time, really. Oh, I remember why. Because the lyrics, we got the lyrics wrong, so we had to fucking patch it in at the end. Sure. All right, I think we'd finished vocals, right? If I'm not mistaken, done with vocals. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, just to kind of, well, finish vocals in the sense just dealt with them individually. We don't know what they sound like in the context of the song.
What's right up in maybe right and the sound. It's in the mind and the
oh, what's that?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, we did something. Oh, I think I did something, and I don't remember what I did, so we'll do something else for this mix.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
That's probably too loud.
But the way of your word.
Okay. So, and I guess I should mention that I already know how this song goes, which is why I'm keeping a lot of that stuff in my head. Oh, that's dope. I quadruple my harmony parts, soprano, alto, tenor. Now I'm going to pan them. Yeah, again, you don't have to hard pan them, but in this particular case, that's going to work out really well. It's very common if you have 2 double takes, you just pan them left and right. All right. So last thing I'm going to do is on the vocal group, right? There's all these vocals are going to a vocal subgroup. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a EQ and compressor just to, well, for 2 reasons. Because one, now the vocals sound pretty organized and together right now, right? But we also have to make sure that they're going to work in the context of the mix. And sometimes to do that, you'll need to EQ the vocals in general to carve out space for the vocals in the context of all the other instruments, right? So I'll put an EQ on it first. And let's see. Come on.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
Man. And the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a compressor on here. that's just going to be there to keep the vocals relatively evened out in case there's any spikes. Because look, here's what's going to happen. We put compressors on the individual vocals, right? You guys remember that. All these are compressors on individual vocals. You can see that. But what happens when, the main and the harmonies start to come in is that the level might spike up in certain places. So not only do you have to compress individual vocals, but also compressing them as a group can actually help keep the entire vocal. Damn. Yo, if this ends here tonight, it was a pleasure. Yo, this is my fucking work computer. If this shit goes, I'm screwed, man. All right. All right. So for that reason, I'm going to put a compressor on here. It's and I'm gonna do barely a dB or two of compression.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine.
The other benefit of putting a compressor on group vocals is that I talked about this with somebody. It might have been you, Glenn, but like, because compressor actually reduces dynamic range, when you have vocals that are at different levels, like harmonies, putting a compressor like just kind of glues them together a little bit more. It kind of just builds that connection between them. Very, very popular strategy for vocals.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
If it gets too soft, just turn the headphones up on your end, because again, I don't want to go too loud with my mix. All right, so let's say vocals done for now, right? Now we can mute these vocals and move on to another instrument. Let's go into something percussive like cajon. So we'll definitely need reverb for this. So I'm going to create a cajon verb. I don't think I'll need delay for this. I don't think I did delay for these cajons. But anyway, it doesn't matter what I did. This is a new mix. So whatever happens now, fucking let it happen. Okay. So a cajon is like a wooden box, and there's a front and a back. So the front is kind of like a kick, and the back is kind of like the back is kind of like a kick. Front is kind of like a snare. So let's hear what this back sounds like. But you can hear both. But I treat the back like the kick because that's where the punch comes in. This low end punch. Yes. Now we're clipping, so that's kind of an issue. So let's go ahead and put in a trim plugin just to kind of reduce it. This is going to be bass guitar, so I'm going to get rid of this now. Get some more punch out of it by adding a compressor with a slow attack, about 25 to 30 milliseconds to get that attack. Change the release to make it release a little smoother. Woo! Yeah, so the trim plugin just reduces the gain before it hits any of the other plugins. That's all it does, right? Now you could also do it by going up here. This is another way to do it. Clip gain the track over here if you want to. That's fine too. But yeah, slightly different, but I just went with trim for now. So this, actually, I might do the opposite. I might gain it up. So we got some body there, but we don't need the low end because that's going to be taken care of by the back. What I want is the high. And that body. Yeah, so it's phase is okay. Just kind of add some reverb to it to bring some life. Didn't put a reverb plugin on. Let's see what reverb is going to work for this. Let's try the Verb Suite. A little bit long. So that low end might be too much. Might want to take this out. Because the compressor is kind of making it a little bit. Well, that might actually work. Gonna put the reverb to the Cajon group, and within the Cajon group I'm actually going to put a compressor on there just to kind of tighten. So now that we have two Cajon microphones, compressing them as a group is also important, but I want to retain the attack. I don't want to lose that. And actually I'm going to use a different compressor. I usually use the Slate FG Red for like drum related when I want that transient out. So I'm going to try this. Set the high pass up, set a drive up. Ooh! That sounds more like a fucking band. Can probably turn it up, right? It's pretty soft. So, if you have two of any, the trim plugin. What's the dB for release on drum? The dB for release. Oh. You mean the speed? It depends on the tempo. That's what I said when we were going over compressors, right? So attack, if you want something more punchy, you set it to a slower attack, like 25, 30 milliseconds. If you want something kind of evened out, faster attack. Release is more to do with how smoothly or how fast do you want the compressor to let go compressing, right? And that's really based on like a feel, like just like feeling how the compressor just like lets go. I can't really give you any approximates for that. It's really based on feel. See if I can EQ this a little bit better as a group. So the bass is going to live somewhere. That's... So I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of that low end to know that the bass guitar is going to live somewhere in there. Oh, I'm clipping. All right. Now, one thing I should mention is that usually I'll have a bunch of plugins on the mix bus as well, and I didn't do that for this just because we were starting exactly from scratch. But usually on the mix plugin, I'll have mix bus. I'll have like EQs and a tape machine and limiters and stuff like that. And because we were just doing vocals, it didn't really bother me. But now that we're getting into like real instrument stuff, I'm actually going to start adding stuff on the mix bus. Specifically, I'd like to put in a limiter first, just a limiter to make sure that, you know, I'm not clipping, nothing for gain or anything like that. I'm going to add an EQ and just leave it there. I'm not going to really do anything just yet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what it sounds like to have a tape machine on here. So if we use the virtual tape machine, I really like this for like percussive stuff. It just gives it that, it really tightens it up. I don't know if you can hear the difference. Man, it's so subtle. If you don't hear it, don't worry about it.
Away with the tide and the sound.
All right, we're getting a little bit loud, so we want to make sure that we reduce what we need.
I feel it slipping away with the tide and the sound.
I'm gonna turn on my headphones.
Turquoise and crimson midst in the mind and the world all around.
So if you have two of anything, instruments, vocals, usually group them together. No, not necessarily. You can. I think it's an efficient way to do it, but I don't necessarily do that. Kai, I don't know if you're here on YouTube, but you don't have to come back to the Zoom if you're on here. That goes for anybody. If you get kicked out of Zoom, don't worry about it. All right, so we did percussion. We did cajon. We didn't do the drums wherever these, it's just kick drum, right?
Maybe.
I mean, that sounds good. Are these the same? Man, it's coming down out there, huh? Oh, so these are exactly the same track. So when you put an EQ and phase flip one of them, yeah, they cancel each other out. So these two are the same tracks. I'm just going to get rid of one of them. I love the low end from this. Could probably accent that. Probably don't need the top of this either. Hurricane. Okay. All right, let's move on to let's do bass because we already did cajon, and that's a perfect complement to that. Woo! Okay. Let's fucking deal with this shit right now. Let's see what we got. We've got... So the wet is through an amplifier, and the wet sounds really good. Maybe I'll get rid of some of that shit. That clicky sound. So the bass lives in this region, right? I'm going to turn the clip gain down on these by like 3 dB. And I'm also going to reduce the low end over here because that's where the cajon's going to live. I can do that by doing that, or I'm probably going to do something like this. So sacrificing some of that sub so that it works with the cajon, right? Now I'm probably going to use the amp, but if I wanted to dial in the dry as well, I might do that. So the dry doesn't sound as exciting. This is the direct signal, not the amp signal, but it does have the nice attack, right? Like that little top thing. I'll show you. That gives it that little punch, right? Definitely don't need this. Now, I may or may not dial that in. Let's see what this sounds like together. I'm going to keep both of them in. It gives it that fullness. And I think these are already compressed, yeah. Gonna add an EQ because I'm gonna have to balance that out with the cajon, and a compressor just to even it out. So now, let's do some sidechain compression. You guys have actually heard about this before. Some of you have heard about it before. Some of you haven't. So in order to do the idea of sidechain compression is simple. You know what a compressor does. A compressor, you have a threshold. Once the threshold is crossed by whatever, like if you put the compressor on a kick drum, right, or a cajon, once the kick drum crosses the threshold, it gets pushed down and compressed. Sidechain compression is, you put the compressor on the kick drum, but whenever some other instrument plays and that instrument crosses the threshold, this kick drum gets pushed down. That's sidechain compression. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put a compressor, specifically, I'm going to put a compressor, actually I'm going to get rid of this one, and let me actually individually do that. I'm going to get some more attack from the DI, because I put the compressor on the bus before to get more attack, but I can do that by just putting it on the DI over here. All right, now I'm going to put a compressor on the bass group. I'm going to put it in first because it's going to be side chaining. And then I'm going to go to the Cajon. And actually, I'm going to go to the back of the Cajon. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the Cajon back and send a copy of the Cajon to bus 9. Let's call it Cajon side chain. Right? And I'm going to send a direct copy of it, or an exact copy. So set the fader to 0 dB. So this is going to send a copy of this Cajon back, which is like the kick drum. So the kick drum copy to a bus called Cajon sidechain. Then I'm going to put a compressor on the bass guitar, right? And in this particular compressor, you can actually click on this little button called sidechain and say external input. And then you have to make sure that your key input is set to the Cajon sidechain bus, right? So you can tell that if you listen to the bass alone, right? Right now we're listening to the bass, but if you press on audition, you see how that the external input is actually the Cajon. So the Cajon is actually being sent into this compressor, and this compressor is going to compress the signal of the bass. So whenever the kick drum hits, the bass ducks. That's the idea. Yes, sidechaining is a little complicated, I understand. Don't really need that little high. Don't really like this. All right, cool. So now we're done with those. And the cymbals, you know, I think the cymbals are going to be really easy. I don't think I'm going to have to do anything too extreme. So you have a direct and then 2 room microphones left and right. So direct, room left, room right. So the room left and right are supposed to be panned hard left and right. So you can actually just go ahead and do that. But let's see what these percussions really are. All right, and now you can actually group the direct and rooms by pressing Command G. So I'm just going to go ahead and group them. Ideally, we actually don't need all these different tracks because they're actually pretty much in different locations, but oh well. reduce the direct. No, I had it right. Ooh. I'm just leveling them out. I'm sure I'm going to EQ these all the same because they're all cymbals. Unless I hear something. Wait. Aha! Cut that shit out. Hello, what the fuck? And what's the last one? Just getting some levels going. G. So the cymbals, pretty easy to EQ, right? You want to get rid of any harsh frequencies, but also you want to have them nice and shimmery. So I'm going to put a global EQ on the subgroup. Definitely don't need any of this sub information. That's kind of like, now we're getting there. Gotta be careful. There's some spiky frequencies you want to be careful about. I might be going a little fast, so sorry if it's like kind of like overwhelming right now.
Turquoise and crimson midst in the mind and the world.
Let's do guitar. So making pretty good headway, right? With just getting like the subgroups organized. Let's see. So there's a little bit of that low end, which we don't need. That's going to fight with the bass for sure. All this is going to fight with the bass. We don't want that. As much as I love it. Oh, but this doesn't have... This is the first verse, so there's no bass. So yeah, I will keep it. Woo! Nice little acoustic guitar. So let's see what this is going to do.
Seeping out from these open moons.
Let's pan this.
Mystery that binds us.
Gotta add some reverb on this guitar. It's definitely sounding super dry. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for this context, it'll work. I think reverb will work. Gonna set up a bus for that. You guys already know how to do it. I'm just showing you again. And let's use, I think the lustrous plates is gonna work well on this too. But there's only one way to find out.
Seeping out.
I love it. Let's EQ the reverb.
Through all your fear, seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us. So swear to me and keep this, keep this, keep
Oh, these are the same. Got it.
this closer, seeping out from these open. Keep this, keep this, keep this.
Might put a compressor on this one. It's a little uneven.
Keep this, keep this, keep this, keep this, keep this, keep this close. Keep this, keep this, keep this closer, seeping out from these open wounds. Keep this, keep this, keep.
So I want it to be there, but I don't want it to be like, hey, I'm a guitar. Like I want it to just like, you can hear the picking, but just not like, you can't hear like the full tone of the guitar. That's okay.
Keep this, keep this.
You know what I mean? It's got to just be there. Let's see what these chords are.
Maybe.
Oh, these are left and right, so I can pan these hard left, hard right, and group them as guitar V2, and group these as guitar chorus, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Maybe.
EQ. This definitely needs EQ. I'm going to start with the ones that I already have. So I think there's some low shit in here that's going to fight with something that's already there. So I'm going to take a little bit of the lows out. Add that reverb. Oh, I didn't do that on this too. I gotta check that.
Just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Gonna put an EQ on the overall guitars too. I'll do that here. Don't want to kill it. Don't want to kill the body, but I do want to get that bright shimmeriness out of it. It looks like there's verse 2 guitars too, but I think that this will work.
And the sound, turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind, and the world all around. Maybe, oh maybe, we'll be just fine.
Okay, so got that, and let's see what this orchestra is about. Ah, yes, I remember this. This is the main melody. This piano sound. I'm not going to do too much to the orchestra outside of the main instruments. Ooh, I like that. Don't really need to EQ that. That sounds pretty good. So you can hear this track, but it's not obvious. Okay, that's cool. About Sean, I mean.
Too high.
Alright, so these mallets and piano pretty much taken care of, right? Let's see what these other things are going on. I'm gonna mute. Oh, I'm gonna mute. Let's see, all these except for orchestra. Let's see what these orchestras are going on. I think there's a pad somewhere coming up. Where is it? Turn these down. Way too fuck. Oh, these are. What's this? Oh, that's way better for this vibe. I'm just fucking with the levels, which is over here. I don't like that initial hit of that pad, so I'm actually going to fade it in. So these are already panned, you can hear them. Right? Interesting. Ooh, oboe. Now the cello might need some EQ. Where's the cello? I like it though. I hate killing the vibe of these cellos, but like, it's got to work in the context of the song. these violins can be some of the most screechy, harshest instruments in the world. So you don't really have to turn them up in the mix. They'll cut through one way or the other. They will be heard. All right, let's see. Let's see what we're dealing with. I like that. Boom, bum, bum. And where's the other one? That could probably be turned down. Yes, nice and subtle. Whoa, whoa. This needs to be turned down for sure. And there's another tremolo one, right? Thought I can... Turn that down a little bit. So sometimes if I don't know what this is doing, I'll solo it to hear what it's doing. Then I'll listen in the context of the full song and see how loud it needs to be. A whole subgroup. It can be lower. It's not that important. But it's there. It's still there. I'm going to add an EQ on this globally because there's a lot of low end. That's going to be a big problem. So, as much as I hate it, I'm going to have to. Yes, okay. People are... Ooh, I feel it slipping away. So I will say whoever arranged these strings did a great job at making the volumes pretty evened out. I didn't even have to do that much. Whoa, what was that? Build up timpani? That might be too much. So timpani, oh, what is this? Yeah, it's a little too much there too. I'm gonna reduce this because there's gonna be other instruments. I love that harp though. Woo! Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, wait. I don't want that. Bum bum bum. Do do do. Where is it? Ah, yes, double bass. Sorry. Bye bye. is one problem, which is that those orchestras could use some reverb, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and create a global reverb for... I'm sorry, a reverb for orchestras. Woo-wee! This is like fucking... What time did I start today? 8:30. Oh, this is like hour 12 of mixing. Fucking A. It's a long day. Yes. Let's see. Orchestra Reverb. I think the lustrous ones will work, but let's try FabFilter first. Now for orchestra, which is all of these, I believe, I'm going to put a global level of setting them all to 0, and then I'll dial the aux back if I need to. Then there's a piano solo, which we didn't really address. That needs to be, I think it needs to be at least EQ'd and maybe some reverb on it. Oh, let's mute all these other ones. Huh? Oh. So I got this amazing jazz musician to play on this. Fucking genius. Might have to compress that. Now the thing with jazz musicians especially, jazz is such a dynamic type of style, right? It's very, very up and down, very dynamic. So if you compress it too hard, you're going to kill all the life out of it. So you want to be very careful. Okay, that's going to be a problem. So here's what we'll do, because that's already starting to clip. I will actually bring down all of these orc group. and we forgot to send the guitar reverb. I can just hear that in the background. Totally forgot to send the guitar reverb to the guitars. Thanks you, Glenn. Appreciate you. Thanks, dude. Yeah, this is why it's good to organize in one day, mix in another day, because yeah, you just get a little caught up in shit. All right. Woo! Let's see. Now, what I'm going to do is, I don't know if, while things are sending out of order, send help. While things are sending out of order, send help. Oh, what? Anyway. So, oh shit, what am I doing? You went to work. Oh man. Let's see. Know my messages. Know my messages. Know thyself. All right, so now we've got like a general, I'm actually, if you guys don't mind, that's about 120 an hour. Oh, you mean, okay, I get what you, yeah. I actually do flat rates for mixes because I like to spend time. I don't want the artist to be stressed out because I want to spend time on shit, you know? And actually, I'll tell you guys privately what it essentially breaks down to, but yeah, you're in the range. Okay, if you guys don't mind, I'm actually going to keep going. I'm going to go straight through, and then we can maybe end a little early, because I'm kind of on a roll, and I don't want to lose it. Just real quick, something that I always like to do just to kind of stay motivated is right here on top, right? We have the rough, which is the demo, essentially, or the recorded version. So sometimes just listening to where that was or that is versus what we've done so far can be a little bit more. If you ever get to the point where you feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm making a difference in this world or in this mix, you can always go back to the demo, and if you've done everything properly and you've kind of like taken baby steps, you'll hear the difference. So let's see what we got. So I'm gonna solo it, and then I'm gonna take it off solo and mute. I can do that with my little fader over here, so that allows me to go back and forth. Definitely cleaner.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just
yes.
fine. I feel slipping away with the tide and the side.
So we're definitely way better.
Turquoise and crimson mist in the mind, and the world all around.
You hear that? Not only is like we've started to like spread things out spectrally so everything isn't like close together, but we've also carved out so much frequency space so you can really hear the difference between the two. Even if the levels are not that different, you can hear like just the spatial difference between them, especially in this like chorus section, right? So the demo is which is cool. But if you switch over to the us, everything's got its own space now, right? All right, so we've definitely come a long way in a positive way, right? We've separated things out spectrally. We're making all the individual tracks work within their individual groups. So for what I mean by that is all the guitars, they work great together. So when you hear the guitars playing together, right? They work great within their group. We've already heard how the harmonies are working well within their individual group, right? So if you hear the harmonies, we've already heard this, but fuck it. Let's hear it again.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be
Right? So things are kind of working in their own group. So this is where I used to stop when it came to mixing. Like this is like where I used to be like, okay, mix is done. Sounds great. Everything's spread out. Everything's leveled out. Blah, 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 blah. Great. And little did I realize that that's just phase 1 of mixing. Now let's get into fucking phase 2, baby. So what is a song? A song is a story. It's a progression from one place through a journey of such, and then it ends somewhere, right? Well, you got to treat every section of the story or every section of the song with care and love, right? So for example, let's take this place right here in the verse, right?
keep this closer.
My opinion, vocals are a little too loud. Whereas if we go to the chorus, oh here, right? Right? They're borderlining being too soft. So that's going to be confusing. The vocals are too loud in the verse and slightly soft in the chorus. Well, how do we fix that? Well, that's what we learned this week. Automation. And what better way to fix individual sections of a song than with automation? And because you have all your individual groups nice and cleaned out, you only need to be focusing on automating the subgroups over here. Now, that is not a hard and fast rule because we will have to go in and individually automate certain things, but as a general vibe for the song, you can actually go in and just play with these subgroup automation. So I'm actually going to turn the automation for all of these from read to touch, okay? Now because I'm using my little fader over here, I should be able to do it, but if not, I'll do it manually just so that you guys can see what's going on. So let's take the first part of the song, all right?
You had me play
So I'd turn the vocals down or the instruments up.
And the way of your word could keep this.
Maybe the guitar's down too.
Keep this closer, seeping out from these open wounds. Keep this close.
So let's turn these vocals down. So let's go up to the vocal. Now look, this obviously you can go down to wherever this is and actually change it, which actually I might do. So here's an example of where I'm going to change this to touch. So let's go all the way down to these vocals. Sometimes my thing doesn't register when I just click on it, which is really frustrating. But oh well, such is life. All right, so let's start automating this shit.
You had me placed far too
Sorry.
high, and the weight of your word could keep this closer, seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us. So swear to me and say you will, swear to me and say you will, what's right up in the light and fight through all your fears.
Okay, so we got some of that right.
You had me play
That first guitar definitely has to go down. This one.
and the weight of your word could keep this
And that has to go down. Mm-mm. Mm. Okay. See what this sounds like.
You had me placed far too high, and the weight of your word could keep this closer, seeping out from these open wounds.
Gonna need the reverb up,
There's a mystery that binds
but I didn't want to automate that. I just wanted to. Oh. Just wanted to turn it up.
far too high, and the weight of your word could keep this of your word could keep this seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us.
Turn this down.
So swear to me and say you will, swear to me and say you will, what's right up in the light and fight through all your
I don't like that pizzicato for the.
what's right up in the light and fight through all
We might be too soft as well.
what's right.
Yeah, that's way too soft. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's turn up this orchestra. All right. It's okay. We will... And I got to remember to turn down that cello pizzicato or the... what's it called? The double bass pizzicato, because that shit was way too loud. I don't know if you guys heard that shit. This. Too loud. So I'm gonna go ahead. Boom. Just clip gain it for now. It's there. So you want it to be just present enough, but not too much in your face, right? All right, but let me just hear the loud part of this, just to see. So this can go up, so we might as well turn the orchestra up for this. So this sounds leveled out. Close. So this maybe I would kind of dip down a little bit. Woo! Yeah! And then there's a cymbal swell that's way too loud somewhere here. Yeah, these two. Way too loud, these cymbals. So in this one, I'm not going to clip gain. I'm actually going to automate these. So select, boom. Yeah, nice and fucking subtle. Those cymbals can come up, but that's fucking shaker, man. Alright. So hopefully that's right. Nah, too fucking loud, man. Be subtle. Be fucking subtle. Fucking stupid ass. These cymbals are supposed to be like just very, very complementary to what's going on, not like in your face. Maybe. I'll go with it. And this rain is coming down like crazy. So now, what I did notice is that the first part of the song, the whole verse that we just did, is way too soft compared to like where we're going to be, which is about -17. So I'm actually going to turn all of those up. Now, I don't want to touch my mix bus. It's usually kind of a rule of thumb that I like to follow. Like, worst case scenario, maybe I will. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to group what are the instruments that are in this. There's vocals, orchestra, and guitar and cymbals in this first section, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have those selected, right? And let's see. It goes all the way here. So another thing that we want to do while we're going through the song is kind of put these little markers, because you know the benefits of these and you know how useful it's going to be when we get to them. So let's shift these in. Boom. There. Oh, I guess they're not going to move together. So let's move this up by 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5.
Seeping out from these open moons, baby.
That still could go harder than that. And also the vocals need to come up. They're leveled out, but they need to come up more. So let's do 4 dB plus 4 dB. Might be too much, but fuck it. Let's see what it sounds like. And vocals, I'll do 5 dB.
So swear to me and say you will find, maybe, and say you will. What's right up in the light and fight through all your fear. Maybe.
All right. And actually, here's a good time to use this fade thing.
Maybe. You had me placed far too high, and the weight of your word keep this, keep this closer, seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us. So swear to me and say you will, swear to me and say you will. What's right up in the light and fight through all your fear. Maybe, oh maybe we'll be.
Sorry, I just muted the console because like I didn't want to bother you guys with my voice. I'm actually going to turn myself a little bit down if that's okay, just so I can hear the mix a little bit better. I can hear my like room and my breathing, so it's distracting. What is this? 0? Oh no, -9.
Maybe, oh maybe we'll.
All right, so I think we got the first verse down, right? This is V1.
You had me play.
Aha, so there's something we didn't notice. There's a high in that instrument. And that's very, very annoying to me. Where is it? Where the fuck is it? You. Somewhere in the orchestra. I can fucking hear that shit. Or maybe not. Huh. Somewhere in the orchestra. It's like a fucking hiss. Gotta find that motherfucker.
You.
You guys hear it? You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like, I don't know what to say. And it's so soft, you probably won't even see it in the signal.
You.
What? What? Okay, this is fucked up. Where the fuck is it? I think it's in that fucking piano. This is gonna bother the fuck out of me.
You had.
Something's going on. Get the fuck out. Oh my god. Fucking bullshit. So this is why editing is so important. That hissing sound was coming from a track called the piano solo, but that doesn't happen until all the way there. So I'm going to cut out all that shit. There you go. Don't need any more distractions. Gotta pay attention to all that shit. Yes! Nice and clean.
You had me placed far too high, and the weight of your word could keep away.
I'm gonna automate the subgroup. And then I'm going to build up the orchestra. Little bump there. Hear that? Yeah, these shits are too loud, so I'm gonna pull these down just for this section using automation. Ooh, let's pan that a little bit to the right. So it's too loud, so let's bring it down. Down, don't need this. Oh, let's build up that orchestra right there. Can go harder. Same for cymbals.
And fight through all your fear. Maybe, oh.
So you get the idea that you need to go in section by section and really start to dial in the tone. This is like fucking top. This is like secret time, like top-notch secrets. I guess that's why you're here, right? Or else why else would you be fucking watching?
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll
So
the light and fight through all your fear. Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just maybe.
so this is where verse 2 starts. So let's put a marker there.
Just find what's right. Maybe, oh, what's right up in
Wait, did we not do chorus vocals?
what's right.
Oh, we did, right?
up in the light.
Oh, but we didn't turn up the reverb. See? So remember, when all the instruments came in, I couldn't hear the reverb. It was getting buried. So I'm turning it up now. And I'm going to do the same for these choruses and the harmonies a little bit.
What's right up in what's maybe, oh, maybe
Orchestra's too soft.
just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
Pads are too soft on it. So every point in the song, I'm listening to what needs to be the central focus. I'm listening to all the other instruments within that context and deciding if something needs to come up or not.
Maybe, oh,
Actually, those vocals are too soft now.
maybe, oh,
Oh my god, fucking distracting.
maybe, oh.
Just a reminder that you do not have to come into Zoom if you are on YouTube. Yo, this is a tornado though. I know, right? Fucking crazy. All right, let's keep pushing. So, yeah, I don't know if I'll get through the whole song, but you guys are. This is basically what you do for the entire song. But, yeah, because we only got like an hour left. So, let's see what happens.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just
Is there some sort of pad here?
We'll be just maybe, oh, maybe just fine. We'll be just fine.
Yeah, we got to turn these cellos up.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe,
Woo! Look at this fucking go!
maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, maybe.
I think those vocals are too loud now.
Maybe, oh,
Oh, I'm wrong.
Through all your fear. Maybe, oh, maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Okay, the cello's too loud now because I automated that up.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
Ooh, what's this? Yes, let's turn these babies up too. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Here we fucking go.
Oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
I'm gonna leave that. Actually, don't even need that, to be completely honest. That doesn't really go with the song.
Maybe, oh,
Ooh, that'll complement nicely. So let's automate that up.
maybe,
Woo!
oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
That fucking shaker is fucking too fucking loud. Oh yeah, here we go.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Turn these cymbals up.
I feel
Too much. Dial it back.
I feel
Woo! Okay, where are we at? We are.
maybe, oh, maybe we'll
Oh, we
be
gotta turn up this
just
fucking kick drum.
fine. We'll be just fine.
This one.
Maybe, oh, maybe.
But we have something going on with the orchestra now.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Probably go higher.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Maybe, oh, maybe.
Let's try to get some of that attack.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine.
Yes.
We'll be just
Can feel it like a fucking heartbeat.
I feel slim.
All right. Now I'm going to group these Cajon front and Cajon back because I realize that it's in the same group as this.
Maybe, oh, maybe we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. I feel slipping away with the tide and
And I can also group these basses because they're in the same group too.
maybe I feel slipping away with the tide and the sound. Turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind.
gotta turn those vocals up for sure.
We'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Oh, god damn it.
Just fine. Just fine. I feel it slipping away with the tide and the sound. Turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind and the world all around. I feel it slipping away.
Gotta turn those up. So since they're grouped, I can just click on the send. Let's see. Oh, I hope I haven't missed anything. So going through the song, if certain parts need to be louder and so, yeah, exactly. Instead of yes, exactly. Because not only do the instruments have to work within the group, right? Vocals have to work within the vocal group. Guitars have to work within the guitar group, but then they have to work amongst each other, and they have to work across time during the song, because during the verse, maybe the guitar level is here and the vocals is here, but during the chorus, maybe the guitar level needs to be here and the vocal needs to be just there. So you have to automate. There's no other way. Woo! Yeah. Fuck yeah. Come on.
Turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind and the world all been away.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Tide and the sound. Turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind
Woo!
and the world all around.
So there's a shaker here that's not really loud enough. I can hear it barely playing right here.
I feel it slipping away with the tide and the sound. Turquoise and crimson mixed in the mind and the world all around.
That bass is too loud there. So this is the second chorus, so we could probably bump it up a little bit. Let's see, chorus 2. So we can actually group all of these, Command G, into a group called, let's call it all subs. And then we can also create another one called all inst. So you have two separate groups if you ever need them. But now when you group them together, the cool thing is that you can automate them together. Let's check it out. Get the idea, right? So and just get rid of these, yeah. Vocals are too soft.
We'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
So these vocals need to come up.
Maybe
Gotta automate those. Damn. Oops. Piano solo is too loud, so I gotta fix that. Whoo! Where's the piano solo? There we go. This might need automation, so yeah, because it's so jazzy, you have to feel it out and do it. Ah, jeez, I gotta bring my fucking thing all the way down here. Sorry, guys. I gotta ask PreSonus what the hell is up with that. That's such a weird glitch, but I also think it's a, you know. All right, let's do this. Touch automation. Let's do some jazz piano. Yeah, that needs to be a little. I can't remember the solo. So if you don't know what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to even out the piano solo so that it's still audible, but it's not like jumping out too much in certain places. But in order to do that, I have to know exactly what he's playing and follow him accordingly. So it's a little bit. I gotta keep up. I didn't need to do that. Woo! Oh, let's actually do a build there as well, because it sounds like the other instruments are building on their own. So let's do that. Let's see. So you're going through the song. Gotta fade that piano solo in. Yeah, it's hard to have the solo with all the other instruments still going on. Yeah. No, that's kind of where automation is going to help. But there's also one other thing that's going to help this thing, and you're going to see. What was I going to do? So that build up at the end. Probably do that for bass, because it has a. Hear that bass? Rudy. Let's do it for orchestra. these vocals can be lower, right? Because they're not. It's at the end.
Have me play.
But the start is still at the... So the vocals come in while there's a decay in the instruments, and that's making it inaudible initially, but then they can come down afterwards. You know what I mean?
Have me play.
Probably go a little harder. That's it.
Have me placed.
So we didn't check what's happening in this.
Be just
fine.
We'll be just We'll be just We'll be just We'll be just
All right, so now Ty brought up an interesting issue, which is when the piano solo is going on. The piano is covering a whole range of frequencies, especially, so usually a solo stays up in the upper registers to like cut through a mix, right? But when you have these solos that kind of interweave between middle registers and high registers and stuff, one, automation leveling is going to help, but two, you're going to have to dial back some of the other instruments. So, for example, the orchestra is the biggest offender. So what you could do in this particular section is on the orchestra track, we'll add another EQ and cut out some of the mids. Now, there's one tiny little issue, which is that the piano is on the orchestra subgroup, piano solo. So I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to create a new subgroup. Actually, I'm not even going to create a subgroup for the piano solo. I'm just going to... Yeah, actually I will. So, new subgroup. This is very rare that I do this, but time is a short and ears are a dead. So we gotta fucking keep it moving. Ugh. All right, so this comes down here. I'm just gonna match this to the other one and copy this over. And I'm gonna send the piano solo to this. So I'm gonna create a new bus input, call this piano solo. I don't know how. I hope some of you guys are getting something out of this. This is some top level Secret Service level shit. So anyway, I'm gonna, now that the piano solo and the orchestra are on two separate groups, what I'm gonna do is, actually let me just modify this real quick. Piano solo, add, and then all instruments, modify, add piano solo to the... Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an EQ on the orchestra. So you see how when I take out the mids of the orchestra, the piano becomes way more audible? Check this out. I'm going to start here, and then as I duck it, listen to how much more clear the piano cuts through, the solo. So, this is a good place to be for when the piano solo kicks in, but not anywhere else. So what do? I will automate the gain knob of this. Control, Option, Command, click, Enable Automation. Exactly. Yeah, you go section by section. Exactly. And you want to automate the EQ. So wherever the solo comes in, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is solo. And this is. And right here is the end. So you want to make sure that, oh, did I not do it? Oh, I did. Create the points for the EQ there. Duck the EQ. I think it was about by 4 dB, which is pretty extreme. And then you create a fade because the piano starts a little early, so you want to create a bit of a fade to do that, which is going to be really good. And now the EQ will clean it up. Okay, that's not a good fade. That's going to be good. What is that? Yeah, where is it? There's an extra little shaker or whatever, tambourine. It's kind of annoying me. This. These can stop here. Oh, and I can get rid of these. Have me placed far too high. Can turn the orchestra up. But the way of your word, you have me play. You have me placed far too high. So actually, I might want to do a little, the fuck is it called? Decrescendo? No, not crescendo. Hannah, what's the opposite of crescendo? Fucking forgot. Far too high, but the way no.
Keep us, keep us.
So do the same for the orchestra.
You have me placed far too high, but the weight of your word could keep us, keep us.
There you go. Oh, I didn't hit the floor. All right. So now
We'll be just fine. We'll be just
this is before.
I feel slipping away with the tide and the sound. Turquoise and crimson.
That's too loud.
Minutes in the mud. Turquoise and crimson. Minutes. Turquoise and crimson. Minutes. Turquoise and crimson. Minutes in the mind. And the world all around. And the world all around.
That's too loud. So let's do the cajon. Actually going to do the same for the guitars in this section. So I'm going to add an EQ for the guitars. It's going to help with the solo. So let's automate that. Control Option Command, enable automation. Open up the automation lane. Let's see, from solo to end on the guitar. Bring that down. Oh, dude, I know, but I love that fucking madness of jazz. I'm a fucking huge fan of that shit. It sounds crazy and it's totally different for the actual feel of the song because the rest of the song is just so... right? But that's what I love about the solo being so fucking crazy and wild. I don't know why. It's just, I love that shit. Those fucking jazz chords get me every time. But anyway, we can listen, like we can do a quick A-B, right? So I'll go back and forth between the before and after.
You had me play
So that's before.
far too high, and the weight of your words keep us closer, seeping out from these open wounds is a mystery that binds us.
Ty, when I
So swear to me and say you won't
Ty, when I all right, when we'll A-B some other sections, but like when we started doing this song, I was like, I want to fucking rip and solo in this, right? Because that's how the original goes, but it's a electric guitar solo. But I'm like, no, we're doing this acoustic. I want some fucking piano jazzy shit, and I knew just the guy to do it. And like the vocalist and I think, yeah, the vocalist mainly was like, I don't know, dude, it sounds really weird. I'm like, fuck you. This is I fucking love that shit. All right.
find.
This is before.
Maybe we'll be just
See how much more open it is,
we'll be just fine.
right?
I feel it slipping away. Woo! With the tide and the sound.
Before,
Turquoise and crimson.
after.
It's in the mind and the world all around.
Before,
Maybe, oh maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
and after.
Maybe, oh maybe, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Gonna turn these vocals up. So that piano solo's a little too loud, so I turned it down. Oh, is that what you were talking about, Ty? If that's the case, then yeah, I agree with you. It was a little too loud. It was like 2 dB too loud. But as far as whether it should be in the song, nah, that shit's in there. So let's turn these chords up. Whoa, okay. So that should be turned up. Oh, then I agree with you.
Have me placed far too high.
So yeah, in that case, I agree with you. Yes, absolutely. All right, let's take this back to Zoom. Damn, I went fucking all the way, baby. Obviously, from this point onwards, it's just fine tuning. All right, let's take it back to Zoom real quick.